boxing on Channel 5. Defending his name, his legacy, Harlem Eubank. Battling his way up the super lightweight rankings. Can he remain undefeated? Big Fight Live, Eubank versus Uruzquieta, Friday at 10 on Channel 5.
Razorban IFL TV proudly sponsored by Everlast, fresh off his trip from London. At the fight with me, Dave Coldwell. Dave, firstly, how are we doing?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm all right. Bit tired, but I'm all right.
Like the rest of us. Just the day after Anthony Joshua returned back to the ring. Just an open first question. Your overall assessment on seeing Anthony Joshua back here in London at the O2 Arena?
It was nice to have him back. Big fight week. I remember walking into the arena. We got in and the crowd was already in there, and it was good to see the O2 full again and packed out and a good atmosphere and everything. We missed those big AJ nights, and there's only a handful of fighters that can do put on special nights like that at the O2 or MEN and places like that. So yeah, it was good to have him back and everything. I just felt the performance for me was understandable because it's his first fight back, first fight with new coach and everything like that. But I thought it was a lot more hesitant and passive than what I expected. I thought, especially with him coming in a bit heavier as well. I thought with Franklin being lighter, having lost weight against Dillian, I thought yes, he might be, might make him a bit sharper. But I thought the weight, if AJ went in there and kind of dominated, I thought the weight would take its toll, the strength and the size of AJ would take its toll on him. But it was a bit of a disappointing sort of performance from a fan's point of view, and I get that.
Dave, why was he so tentative? Why was he so at times static and not throwing what we're used to seeing, those combination punches, that right hand we didn't see land a lot?
Listen, I don't know him well enough to say what goes on in his head. I'm like you, I'm like all the fans out there. I can only judge from what I see, from how you see his demeanor, how you see him perform, from how he speaks to how he's performing. And I just feel as though he's a guy that just doesn't carry that inner self-confidence, that inner belief. Doesn't matter how he carries himself, the shape, the posture, the things that he'll say in the media beforehand. When the bell goes and everybody gets out, and you're left in there with a man opposite you, you're left in there with your thoughts throughout them 36 minutes plus the minute in the corner. Whatever the coach is saying to you, you've still got your thoughts going in there during that minute break. So for the whole time that you're in that ring, you have to battle those thoughts, and especially if you do have doubts, if things aren't how you'd like them to be. So I think it just strikes me as a guy that doesn't truly have that confidence anymore. So I put that, the tentativeness, I put that reluctance to let his hands go, reluctance to not so much roll the dice, but every time you open up as a fighter, you are rolling that dice because you're always wary about getting countered. And, you knew that Franklin was looking to counter AJ, but I felt for me, the problem is AJ is throwing a shot, be it a lead right hand sometimes, or the jab, and he's recoiling in a straight line, straight up, right in the line for Franklin to let go of his 2-3 punch combination, to come back snappy with something else. So whatever AJ is doing, he lands a nice jab, lands a nice right hand where he could maybe feel a bit more confident of landing. He's being put straight back into that defensive mode and that mentality where he's under fire, so he's going straight back. He can never get into a role of where he feels like he's dominant man and he feels though he can then start taking the next step. But that was all by him just straightening up in a straight line right in front of Franklin. And, never really doubling, having success with a double jab or throwing shots behind that. But yeah, it was I felt sorry for him while watching it. You know, you think at first you've been patient, he's working on things, and there's things he was doing in there that were nice little clipping left hooks and things like that. But everything was just single shots. He didn't want to take the chance of getting caught in between punches, and I understand that. I do understand that. But when you are the former heavyweight champ, you know, unified, and you're looking to get back up there, and you've come from the stadiums to there was all the talk about, you know, he's dropped from stadium to arena. Was it going to sell out? Is it tickets moving slow? That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of a lot of baggage to carry into a fight when you haven't won a fight for a, you know, I didn't realize until you're hearing, you know, saying he's not won since 2020. You know, so that's a long time. So there's a lot of pressure there, a lot of baggage there. But when you're that level of fighter, remember these are elite guys, you know, or supposedly elite guys. They're aspiring to be elite guys, the leaders of the division, leaders of boxing. You've got to go out there and you know, put on a performance. Listen, if people can say that about kids that are unbeaten and prospects that are coming through and 9, 10, 11 and 0, and if promoters and TV networks can say, oh yeah, it's not just a results business, you got to go out there and impress, that counts even more so for the guys at the top, you know, because you can't expect a young kid to go out there and put his foot on the pedal and really take charge of it when he hasn't got that experience, when he's learning his game, but yet say, oh, it's okay for the champ, the ex-champ, the experienced fighter, the top name fighter, it's okay for them to go safety first if they're not feeling as confident, if they're not, you know. I understand that's what happens as a human being, but you've got to treat them both kind of the same.
Dave, I just want to just go back to David Price. He had those back-to-back defeats with Tony Thompson.
Yeah.
And he almost wasn't the same fighter. I know you worked with him towards the latter part of his career, and he just wasn't that same fighter. People say about Joshua that he hasn't been the same since Klitschko. Some say Ruiz. Dominic Ingle did an interview a couple of weeks ago where he said he feels like Joshua has already peaked. We've already seen the best of Anthony Joshua. Where are you with kind of this whole picture of Anthony Joshua?
Listen, I've always been a big fan of AJ. I think, you know, for what he's done for the sport, for the knock-on effects, you know, like you had Audley doing for the amateurs, AJ for the pros in this country, you know, the Matchroom stable, the brand, the fighters coming through. You know, I've had fighters on his undercards. I've had fighters that have been able to be built through on the back of AJ. He's done massive for this sport. You know, he's put it right at the top. You know, and we've had some great nights. But I was a little sad watching it last night because while I was sat there and I'm sat in my, you know, when everything started, you know, you're on edge first as the rounds are going by, the early rounds. But then when you realise the pattern of the fight, you start just sitting there, you're thinking, wow, this is like, each round that goes by, you can almost feel the pressure that he's under and the tension in there. I kind of thought, do you know what? Those big nights, those big glory days, I think they're gone. He's had an amazing career. He's been so successful, but keeps changing his trainers. But it's the same. It's just there's something that's holding him back. It's the same doubts. It's the same reluctance to. He's got all the physical attributes, but it's a reluctance. And I'm going. You mentioned David Price. I actually thought about Price in the, you know, while I was watching the fight. I thought it is like that. He's got all the tools, and when he uses the tools, he has success. But they're not wanting to pull that trigger. I understand that. I understand. I've worked with fighters like that. I've been around fighters. I remember I was in the gym with Johnny Nelson, where, you know, Johnny would be absolutely amazing in the gym, and if you saw Johnny Nelson in the gym, it was unbelievable. But then a lot of times in the fights, he would hold himself back, and that's through self-doubt. You know, I've listened for my little bit of a career at a lower level. I was the same. I just didn't believe myself. So you know you should be doing more. You understand you should be throwing more. You understand when you're doing something, you're having success, but you're always doubting yourself. So you're putting a brake on yourself. And that's what from the outside looking in, can't look into his brain. I'm not speaking to him in the corner. I don't know him on a training level or on a personal level as such. From the outside looking in, I'm looking at that, and that's what I kind of thought I'm seeing in a fighter.
Just a final one, Dave. Would you put him in with Tyson Fury next?
No. Listen, if you're gonna, okay, from a fan's point of view, I'd be like, yeah, I want to see that fight. Everyone, before they're retired, you want to see Fury against AJ before they're retired, because it's heavyweight boxing. You just never know. But I'm also an AJ fan, like I've said, and I won't. I think Fury will fuck his head up before he even gets in the ring. I've always thought that is the big. Fury's amazing at mind games. He's amazing at getting people's brains, and I've always thought that is the, you can imagine AJ being so tense by the time he gets in there that he'd like all the tension would come out of him while he's in there, and he'd be gassed quick. And I think it's the worst possible fight for him. But as a spectacle for British boxing, yeah, you'd say like, listen, get it done. But I don't think it happens next unless everybody around him thinks, listen, or if he thinks, listen, this ain't for me anymore, this sport. Let's get this fight done. Give the public what they want. I'm going to make X amount of millions. Let's get it done. But if you're going in there to win that fight and you truly believe that you could win that fight, but you need a bit more time, no, it's not. It's not next. It's not what you'd have next. And the problem is you've got to look at him with this frame of mind. And yes, it is a new coach, and he's got to get new. He's got to learn new things. But he was more aggressive in the second Usyk fight than he was against Franklin. So I don't know. There's a lot going off inside that head. I imagine.
Absolutely, and the next coming days, weeks will tell us, because Eddie Hearn has said that he wants Anthony Joshua back out in July. So
that's the best thing. He's carry on. That's the best thing. Is get active, get that feel of fighting again. He said it himself. He doesn't fight enough. But especially when you got a lot of demons in your head, you kind of like gotta get in there, get back on the horse, get in there, become comfortable being uncomfortable, and you got to have the right opponents. I just think that you stay away from a Joyce right now, you stay away from a Wilder right now, you stay away from a Fury right now. If you're looking at rebuilding and spending the time to rebuild, you need to be active, and you need to get the feel good factor about yourself again. Have a couple of quick fights where you're gonna blast somebody out. If it's a real fight you want, and you can't get up for those kind of fights, and you want that jeopardy in there, then Dillian Whyte, that's a good crossroads fight, because Dillian's not gonna be on his bike. He's not gonna be looking to box and move and look to pick you up. Dillian will bring it, and if that's going to suit you now, then that's the kind of fight. But it's a fight where the fans are going to be excited about. I know there's a lot. I said that on my Twitter, and a few people are saying, "Oh, not all." But that fight got made with those two characters, the history and everything like that. People want to see it, and you've got to understand that. Really, obviously, we want to see Fury fight. Obviously, we want to see Wilder fight. Obviously, but realistically, coming off of that performance, coming off of 2 defeats like that, so he's had 3 fights back to back, where it's like his confidence has probably taken a knock on each of those 3 fights. So more realistic is probably a Dillian Whyte fight, and it'd be exciting.
Dave, always appreciate a few moments of time. I appreciate you. I know you've had a busy day, so yeah, thank you so much, and we'll catch up soon.
No problem.
Dave Coldwell, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Right, the bouncer's going.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,